Welcome to the Seasons of Grief video series, brought to you by the American Association on Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Religion and Spirituality Interest Network, in partnership with Disability Belongs. This series explores concepts of grief through the lens of disability, offering insights and free resources for individuals, caregivers, and communities. As a disclaimer, the information provided in this series is intended to offer practical guidance and facilitate discussions on challenging topics such as grief. Please note that we are not licensed grief counselors and do not provide medical or mental health advice. If you or someone you know requires additional support, we strongly encourage seeking assistance from a licensed professional. Thank you for your participation.
Grief is a journey, helping people mourn. Mourning means all of the different ways that people express and live out grief and loss in their lives. If we deny it or delay it, it makes it worse. Too often we've thought that neurodiverse people and others with intellectual and developmental disabilities didn't understand grief or other losses. Or at the opposite end, we sometimes thought that they couldn't handle the intense feelings that might come with grief, such as anger, sadness, guilt, fear, loneliness, and anxiety. Remember, the people you support live in a world of relationships, and losses of those relationships cannot be ignored. 2 years ago, the Hospice Foundation of America launched an Autism and Grief website. It has a portal for autistic adults and other portals there for families and caregivers of many kinds, including direct support staff. While it was meant for the adults and the staff around them, people around them, remember that the autism spectrum includes people with a wide variety of intellectual abilities. So it can be used by other adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities and the staff working with them. The suggested strategies for helping people mourn apply to many others, and really, indeed, to all of us. So let's take a look at this short little video, which you will see was done by autistic adults.
Hello, my name is Jorge Gutierrez. I'm the director of the Book of Life and Maya and the Three, and I'm on the autism spectrum. Grief is a spectrum too. Grief, the response to loss, can be difficult for anyone to express and process. For those on the autism spectrum like me, conveying thoughts and feelings of grief may be especially challenging, yet may also provide unique ways of coping. The loss itself takes many forms, often the passing of a loved one.
He was my father and I loved him. So he wasn't there anymore, he was just in my heart.
When my grandmother Gigi passed, because of COVID, it felt like Mrs. Claus died to me. Because every day when I visited her, it was like a Christmas morning, where she'd always be able to bake and make cookies, where she gave gifts and she was loving and she was kind.
When my dog Jasper passed away and he was about to die in my arms, I told him I will never get another dog because I cannot replace him, because that's replacing my child. I couldn't do that.
For many on the autism spectrum, the loss of routine can be profound.
Well, I really do miss my animation at the studio. Pandemic happened like we all had to evacuate. It stinks.
Not only are there various causes of grief, but one's reaction to the loss covers a full range of emotions.
Every night, it's like a bottle of water or a bottle of liquid overflowing. And once I lay down, that's when the bottle cap just pops off and the tears come really.
My father had lung cancer, which had spread. My mother responded like a Greek tragedy, literally wailing for hours. I did cry, not so much the day my father died. But as time passed, when I thought of him,
Some on the autism spectrum deeply feel grief, yet keep these feelings deep within. This can cause feelings of being misunderstood.
I don't remember. I remember crying once with my dad. That was a long time after he passed. I just got a little emotional. But no, I did. I missed him, but I wasn't really. I mean, it was hard for me to be upset.
Many on the autism spectrum work through their grief over time by making or displaying art.
I like doing something funny when I'm sad. Like I draw funny cartoons. Can I show you the rough animation I worked on?
I can't sing or dance or act or paint due to my dyspraxia. However, actually, I'm now a published poet.
The way I decided to work through the grief of my loss of my dog Jasper was to get a tribute tattoo of him, because that way I have him to look at every day.
Some cope with their grief out of necessity to be strong for others.
I just, like with my dad, when he had Alzheimer's, when I went to visit him, I said, if I'm in a good mood, he'll be in a good mood. So I said the same thing with my sister. If I'm in a good mood, it'll help her be in a good mood.
Often, the very memories that are most painful at first to recall eventually become the fond memories that heal.
For me, I try not to think about when he suffered. I try to think about going on adventures with him. One adventure me and Jasper did, I was about to turn 9, and my birthday party was in a forest. And we dressed him like a fairy.
Many work through their grief by reaching out to others, or by reaching within, or by doing both.
For a long while, I had to talk with my family, and then I had to meditate every night. I prayed to God every single night, and I meditated, and yeah, to this day, I still do that daily.
Ultimately, grief is something one has to go through rather than around.
To me, grief is not a state, but a journey or a process you travel through.
Thank you so much, because I actually feel a lot better today now that I've talked about it, really.
This short was made at Exceptional Minds. Zach, how come you never brought me any of your grandma's cookies?
The actual truthful answer is her cookies tasted way too darn good.
If you've watched this video as a group, I hope you'll spend some time talking about it. But one of the key things to remember is while everyone shares the experiences of grief and loss in their lives, not everybody does it the same. The differences may be shaped by someone's ability or disability, but more often by family, by culture, by faith, by nationality, sometimes by friends. So that could be a challenge in service systems where you have people from many different backgrounds, both as people who are supported and staff from many backgrounds. Thus, it makes it even more important that you think about supporting people who are grieving in person-centered ways. How do we do that? If our job is not to fix grief or to ignore it, here are some key things to think about. First, be honest with families and individuals about death and grief and loss, coming from a conviction that grief has to be faced with honesty and care to help someone deal with it in their own way. If possible, do that before an experience of loss or grief may be coming up. Second, our job is to be present with people. Listen with ears and listen with your eyes. Words or actions that express feelings need to be recognized and affirmed by others who care. They need a place to go. For most of us, when we grieve, we want people around us whom we trust, people we know care about us. So figure out who those people are in your setting and support those people as they support a person who may be grieving. It's hard for supporters as well. Third, give people choices about what they want to know, about how they want to be helped, and what they might like to do. Grief can make all of us feel helpless and lost, so our job is to help people find their way. We want to convey, we know this is hard for you, for everyone, but we know you can do it, and we are here to go with you. We can help you make the decisions that you need to make. But you can also help people find ways to express their grief that are appropriate to their culture and faith. Think about the ways that all of us act out our grief. We do it by sending flowers, writing cards, lighting candles, going to visiting hours at a funeral home, sometimes in people's homes, participating in funeral rites, going to the cemetery, and other kinds of activities that may vary widely among different cultures and people from different backgrounds. But those are all ways of acting out the feelings and the grief that we feel in ways that are accepted and traditional and appropriate. If people can't act that grief out, they'll find other ways to do it that may not be as well accepted. So if a family's uncertain about including somebody in a funeral or a ritual of a family member who's died, talk with them about that, about the dangers of being left out and left alone, and offer to provide support staff who can go with an individual to participate. And finally, help people find ways to mourn and grieve on anniversaries, on holidays, and other important occasions. In the first year or two, you can never tell when feelings of grief may surface again. So it's important to be aware that those can happen, especially at critical times, and to be willing to listen and to go through that again, because otherwise they're still going to be there and it needs to be heard. Mourning's a journey. Help people mourn by respecting and honoring grief when it appears, rather than ignoring it or trying to fix it. Trust that comfort will come to them if you walk that journey with them and encourage other people to do the same. It's not all up to you.